So welcome to everyone on behalf of BLS. I'm Carlisle. I'm the president of Bristol Law Society and also one of the panelists today. So welcome. You have joined us for our webinar on planning for progression. So hopefully you're in the right place. In terms of just things for today, we are recording the session. So please bear that in mind, and a recording will be made available after the session, so you don't need to scribble down notes. You will get a copy of the key slides, and hopefully everyone can just relax and actually enjoy the webinar unfold in front of you. We do have a Q&A function, which you'll be able to pop in questions in there when we get to the Q&A section, and also just generally if you're having any trouble or need admin support or anything like that. I will introduce now to Sheldon Carlisle, who is from Hayes, who will be running today's session. He is a director at Hayes Legal and one of our supporters and sponsors of Bristol Law Society. So we are delighted to have him with us today. In terms of the BLS events and upcoming events, you can check all of that out on our website, so I won't go through that now. And without further ado, we're now 4 minutes past, so hopefully more people have joined us, and I will hand over to Sheldon. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Coralie. Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome today to our Planning for Progression webinar. As Coralie introduced me, my name's Sheldon Carlisle. I'm a director at Hayes, and I look after our legal and company secretarial business here in the UK and Ireland. And I've been part of the Bristol legal scene for about 23 years now. So I started my legal career a long time ago. As a real estate lawyer, I worked for a couple of firms here in the Bristol market. I trained with, well, I started with Bevan Ashford and it became Bevan Britton, did my training there, worked with Osborne Clarke for a bit. And I was a real estate development lawyer before I moved into legal recruitment, probably about 18 years ago now. And what I now do is I spend a lot of my time supporting lawyers throughout their careers, really, right from the beginning all the way through to their various progression stages. And so it's from that experience that we bring you today's Planning for Progression webinar. And what is today all about? Well, it's really about providing you as lawyers in this market with some practical tools and some advice on how you can create, develop, and execute a successful and targeted long-term career plan. In terms of where we're going to be going today, we're going to be covering, first of all, how do you set about building a career path? You know, what is it that you as a lawyer can be planning and getting yourself ready for the journey ahead? We're then going to look at how you can build a case and actually document that and work very intentionally to pull together a good plan for your future. We're going to look at how you can do that internally and how you can do that externally on the open market in terms of how those options might help you as you progress through your career. And what I'm delighted to do is at the end, I'm delighted that I'll be joined by my fellow two panelists who will be sharing from some of their own personal experiences of going through the progression process. I'm delighted to be joined by Coralie McIver, who's already introduced herself, who's a director at Freeth, as well as the president of Bristol Law Society, and also by Danielle Spalding, who is a principal director at Foot Anstey. If you have any particular questions, as Coralie said, please do pop them in the Q&A box. We've had lots of questions in advance, which is brilliant. We'll try and get through as many as possible. But I think to give as much time as possible to the Q&A, I am going to get cracking. So let's just start with a very, very brief overview of the career path of a lawyer. Now, what I don't have time to do today, which I'd love to do, is talk about obviously all the routes into the legal profession. And what's been so encouraging over recent years is how that's diversified with the dawn of apprenticeships and with the SQE providing so many new routes into the legal profession. But today, what I really wanted to focus on is once you've qualified, how to track your career from that point onwards. As you can see on the left-hand side here, I have a very simplistic, and I do use the word simplistic, overview of a legal career, because obviously everyone's career might be completely different. And different firms structure their career structures in very different ways. But there's a very, very broad overview of the journey a lawyer might take if they stay in private practice on the left-hand side. Having qualified, that initial first progression opportunity is taking that step up from being a junior assistant or associate up to that mid-level associate, which normally happens around about the 3 PQE mark. The next big significant jump is then stepping up to senior associate, which might be anywhere from 4, 5, 6 plus really PQE of taking that next step. And then obviously the next highly significant step is then taking the move from senior associate or managing associate or supervising associate, whatever it's called in your firm, up to director or partner level, which is normally anywhere from APQE plus. The reason I use the word broad is because different firms structure these points of progression in very different ways. And it's very much an overview rather than an absolute bulletproof categorical way in which this happens and points at which this happens, because everyone's career might be completely different. But then for some of you, it might be that private practice or being a fee earner in private practice is not the career path that you're looking at. Well, there's plenty of alternative options that you can be looking at, whether that's going in-house, whether it's becoming perhaps a non-fee earning member of the team, like a professional support lawyer or a knowledge lawyer, they sometimes called in different firms. It might be going into the public sector. There's various options you can explore. Or it might be exiting the law altogether and using the skills that you've developed as a lawyer in a completely different field. It could be journalism, it could be politics. There's a whole host of different things you could go into. I mean, that's what I did in my career, went into something completely different from what I had trained at. For the purposes of today, I very much wanted to focus on everything on the left-hand side of the screen at the moment. If you are thinking about moving in-house or into the public sector or exploring a completely different avenue from private practice, we'd love to help as well. And I have a colleague who specializes on the in-house side, and she'd be delighted to advise you on that. And that includes company secretarial as well, just to say. My colleague Harriet Chapman would be delighted to talk to you in more detail about what a career path on that side of the fence might look like. But let's just take a step back for a moment. When it comes to thinking about your career, it can sometimes be hard to think, well, where on earth do I start? You know, where do I even begin to think about how to build a career path? And I always say the place to start before you get into the nitty-gritty of building career plans and business plans is just asking yourself the big question of where do you want to go with your career? What type of lawyer do you want to be? And whenever I'm talking to lawyers, as I've done over many years, I always encourage them to ask themselves the question of what brings you the most joy in the work that you do? What fulfills you? Where is the life? And my advice is always to focus there, because for some people, they want to be a partner. For some people, that's the last thing on earth they would ever want to be. For some people, they want to be a technical expert. For some people, they want to be a work winner. For everyone, it's going to be slightly different. And I think the place to start is to work out what you want, because that will help shape how you build your career plan. I'd also say right from the word go, find yourself a champion. And that's someone who knows you. It's someone you trust. It might be someone within your business. It could be someone completely outside of your business. It might be someone in the legal world. It might be someone completely outside of it. But the important thing is to find someone who knows you, who understands your strengths, your weaknesses, and can really encourage and support you as you build your career plan. It does come a point when actually having a champion in your business, if you're looking to progress and take the next step, is invaluable. So I would also encourage you, if your champion is outside your business, but you're looking to progress inside your business, you do need a champion. You need someone perhaps in your department or someone in the sector you operate in, or someone that you trust in the management structure who understands the firm and understands what the firm wants, but also understands you. And I say, be brave. Start having the conversation as early as possible. Some people say, when is the best time to start building career plans? And I say it's right from the start, right from qualification. Start thinking about what you want to be. and how you can get there. It's never too early to start planning. So once you've started asking yourself the big questions and you've started working out where you want to go, where do you go from there? Well, building a career path consists of a whole matrix of variables. And I would always encourage you to start by getting hold of the career matrix within your own firm. That is a brilliant place to start because that gives you a good idea of what the role descriptions for each stage in your career might look like and what the firm might be looking for from people who are looking to progress into those type of roles. And it helps give you a framework within which to start thinking about where your strengths lie, where your gaps lie, and what you need to start building some evidence of for when you start going for those promotions. And we're going to look at all the things that are on the screen now in a moment. And different firms will focus on different skills or different characteristics that are important for different stages in your career. So let's get going. Number one, technical expertise. The question is, what are you good at and what do you want to be known for? For some lawyers, they are out and out technical lawyers, and we all know them. They are just brilliant. They just know their sector inside out. They know what their clients want inside out. And I remember when I was a junior property lawyer, I sat next to someone who just knew public sector property inside out, upside down. They knew all the nuances. They knew what the clients needed. They knew all the legal frameworks that were relevant. And sitting next to that person, I learned so much by just listening to their phone calls. Now, you might want to be one of those subject matter experts, and actually, you might be a highly technical lawyer. If that's what you want to be, set about evidencing it. Set about working out what that looks like in your firm. What would it look like for you to be the subject matter expert in a particular field? If something's busy, if something's growing, that might be a great way for you to be evidencing why you should get promoted. Start thinking about how you can evidence that as much as possible. You might want to be a thought leader. You might love writing articles or developing practice areas that the firm could move into or develop or become an expert on for your clients and for your internal market. Get good at writing articles for LinkedIn. Get good at giving presentations on certain practice areas that you think are growth, that are going to be areas of development for your firm. Being a thought leader is a great way for you to evidence your technical expertise in the areas you're good at. You might love training. You might love helping others develop the skills that you've developed. It's a great way for you to evidence some of that leadership quality that might be required for the next step in your career. Volunteer to help with departmental training, perhaps delivering training to clients. These are the sort of areas you can start right from a junior lawyer, developing and evidencing your technical skills. To progress as a lawyer in any capacity, whatever type of lawyer you want to be, you need to be evidencing and showcasing your technical abilities. Secondly, client service. I remember running this event a number of years ago and having a few partners on the panel sharing their own experiences. And we had a partner called Caroline Turner Inskip, who is currently the head of Simmons & Simmons's Bristol office and also their global head of wellbeing. And I asked her the question, what do you wish you'd known before that you now know as a partner? And her answer surprised me. What she said was, she said, I wish I had realized earlier that lawyers are salespeople. And I think lawyers don't like to think of themselves as salespeople. You know, we like to think of ourselves, and I used to, actually, I'm a technical expert. That's what I do. But actually, all professional services providers need to be salespeople. Because whether you like it or not, what you will spend a lot of your career doing is convincing your clients that they need to use you over another legal provider, that they should rely on you for all of their legal services, that actually they should use your firm for other legal services they might require and not just the job that you're doing for them at the moment. And actually, managing client relationships, winning new clients is a fundamental skill that goes hand in glove with delivering excellent legal services. Your clients will expect the legal services. That's why they've come to you in the first place or asked you to pitch for work. What you've got to convince them of is that you are the legal provider that they need to rely on and build a long-term relationship with. So how do you go about doing that? Well, there's so many ways in which you evidence client service and how you can grow in it. Number one, developing soft skills. For many lawyers, actually, soft skills are some of the harder things. Maybe you don't like presenting. Maybe networking is something that doesn't come naturally to you. Growing in those things are fundamental for how you progress as a lawyer. And actually investing in how you network, if it's not something you find it comes naturally to you, get someone who can train you in it, who can work with you in it, who can support you in it, who can take you to events, who can help you learn how to present well. And be bold and volunteer for these things so that you throw yourself in at the deep end. And we'll talk to the panelists a little bit later about how they've done that. Number two, part of client service is knowing your client. Often a secondment can be one of the best ways for you to get under the skin of your client, or to learn what actually makes the business tick so that you can better tailor the services you're providing to what the client really wants. If you get an opportunity for secondment, it is a great way to help your promotion prospects by showing you can work with a client hand in glove, becoming part of their internal service. And when you've done a good job, ask for an endorsement. We can often be a bit shy about asking someone to give us a testimonial if we've done a good job for them. But if you're collecting a body of evidence to show the jobs you're doing for your clients, ask them to say something good about you and use it in your promotion plan, in your one-to-ones with your supervisors. Don't be afraid. And actually, the one that a lot of lawyers don't think a lot about is financial hygiene and financial performance. Because actually, you need to show that you can do a good job for your clients, but that you can do it in a very, very commercial and cost-effective way. And actually showing your growth and ability to handle your financial hygiene well is a fundamental skill for any lawyer looking to progress within a law firm. What I mean by that, by it's showing that you can actually manage your write-offs, you can manage your billings, you can manage your lockup, that you have an eye on the commercials as well as the eye on the legal technical side of things that helps show that your client service is both proficient and financially remunerating for the business. All of these things are fundamentals to client service. Number three, winning work. In the olden days, it was just the partners who went out and won all the work, and it was the juniors who delivered it. Well, those days are long, long, long gone. Now law firms are looking for their lawyers to be fully rounded networkers and potential work winners of the future, way before they ever get close to partnership. Because that entrance to partnership often requires a demonstrable track record of showing client development and client winning over the years. And that is a fundamental part of the business plan that you need to be thinking about as you're sculpting it. How am I putting myself out there to win clients, to be influential in the decisions that clients are making about who they instruct? Well, there's so many ways you can do this. Number one, make sure from a junior lawyer you are active and involved in your departmental or team client development programs. That means get involved in the conversations, ask to be part of the plans for client relationship management, for client winning, for client development. That could be presenting BD ideas to partners, whether that's events, whether it's being involved in forums, whether it's speaking at things, whether it's writing articles, and really show your interest and dedication to being involved in pitches. If there's a client pitch, why not help prepare for it? Why not ask, if you're not ready to do the pitch yourself, if you can go along and support and watch how they do it so that you can see how these things are done. And next time, throw your hat in the ring to be part of the pitching panel. I remember as a trainee lawyer preparing a pitch for one of the partners in my team, going for new work. And it was so exciting to feel like I was part of winning client work, even though my role was pretty small, really, at the time. And what I would say is, as well as this, it's not just about helping the partners or the senior associates or directors in the team go for work that they're trying to win, but it's building your own network. It's building your own contacts. And I remember when I was a junior property lawyer, we were encouraged to build relationships with junior surveyors or junior property agents. I remember playing in a rounders tournament with property agents because it's a great way to get to know your contemporaries at your level in other parts of your industry that could be significant for you as you're looking to progress and win work and show that your network can benefit your firm. So look out for these type of opportunities. Make sure that you are taking them when they come. And my biggest bit of advice, Don't wait for promotion time to scrabble around the market, trying to write a few articles and get to a few events to show your LinkedIn with people in your network. It needs to be incremental, it needs to be strategic, and it needs to be sustainable over the long term. That means you need to build it in from the word go. Don't wait until just before submitting your progression case to the partnership board before trying to quickly evidence what you've done, and really keep a log of everything you do. LinkedIn is fantastic for this. If you do something, log it. And a great way to do that is to celebrate it on LinkedIn. It can feel a bit hard to trumpet what you're doing or what you're involved with, but people love reading about what's going on in the industry. And it's a great way to build up a chronological background of what you've been involved with in your industry. Next, people skills. The politics of promotion can be complicated in any law firm. Sometimes you will be lucky and you will be in the right place at exactly the right time where you've built up experience, where somebody's retiring or moving on, and an opportunity just opens up in front of you for you to take the next step. I would say that's pretty rare. I trained with someone who moved firms, had built up a really good practice, and the head of department was retiring, and it was a fantastic opportunity for them to move straight into that opportunity. Those opportunities are rare. Most promotions are self-generated over a long period of time. And there's sometimes a bit of luck in the moment when something just fits together well. But by and large, it's about hard work over a long time. And you've got to evidence a number of things outside of just your technical ability, your client winning. There's certain things that you need to be showing that you are great at. Number one, are you part of the team? Have you shown evidence over time that you are a net contributor to your team? Do you support your team? Are you at the front of pushing the team forward and supporting others in the department? That could be coaching, that could be training, that could be helping with reporting lines, billing, hygiene reviews, overseeing with, I don't know, supporting delegation, management of juniors in the team. There's all sorts of things that you can show yourself to be within your department that evidences your people skills, your ability to work with others, your ability to bring others on, your ability to play a significant role that's not just about the work that you provide for your clients. Showing that you can benefit your team goes way beyond just the fees that you bring through the door to help your department hit target. And I was talking to someone recently, he talked about the unwritten rules for promotion. And sometimes it can be quite hard within a business to know what to get promoted. What do I need to do? I know I need to meet this matrix of skills, but are there things that I need to be doing and evidencing? And people skills are such a big part of that. Are you doing the right thing in the business? And this is where getting a partner sponsor, a champion within your business is fundamental, because they can often give you the inside track on what works, what do you need to think about, and they can honestly tell you what you're missing and what you need to be thinking about in order to make your next significant promotion. People skills is often a very difficult one to quantify, but it's such an important one to be thinking about as you balance your career plan. And then finally, embodying the culture. Some elements of promotion can't be measured in a smart way. And that is hard because some things can. If you hit your targets, you get promoted. That's nice and easy and it's smart. But some things are harder to quantify and yet are equally important. And your contribution to the culture of your firm is as significant as many of the other things that we've been talking about today. So how do we talk about this and what does it mean? What the question you can be asking yourself is, what value do I bring to my firm and to the culture that my firm represents beyond just my fee earning? And I'm looking forward to a Q&A with Coralie and with Danielle a little bit later about this. But Coralie is a great example of someone who is so active in promoting their firm within the work they do outside of what the firm does. In Coralie's roles as, I mean, she has a million roles that we'll talk about in a bit, but as Bristol Law Society's president and all the other things that she's involved with. And sometimes it's about saying, what role am I playing within my firm by raising the profile of my firm outside of it? That can be so significant in your progression. That might mean getting involved in committees. It might be getting involved in pro bono work. There might be something you are so passionate about that you can make a difference with, both within the firm and in terms of raising the profile of the firm externally. And these are the things that the firm are looking at, that they're thinking about. What type of ambassador are you for the firm? How much are you trumpeting the values of your firm, and how are you engaged and contributing towards it? So once you've reflected on all of these things and you've begun to think about all the things that are important to you and which direction of travel you are going in, what do you do with it all? How do you collate it? How do you put it in one place? Well, what I'd always encourage you to do is, number one, start with that career matrix that we talked about right at the start that your firm will have. The things that your firm say, these are the qualities, these are the skills, these are the achievements we're looking for you to evidence. And start building your own actual document evidencing those things right from the start of your career that you add to. I like to think of it as like a living document that you will carry with you and amend and adjust as your career moves forward. And as you're pulling that together, there's a couple of things that are really important for you to quantify and evidence and make sure that your plans are fitting with. So the first thing is making sure that your plans actually align with the strategy of your firm. That means actually the plans that you're building, do they fit with where your firm is headed? Actually, the things you're wanting to achieve, is that the direction of travel that your department, your team, and your firm are heading in? You need to make sure that the way that you are articulating your plans are a way that can fit with the direction of travel of the firm. They are aligned to the growth strategy for your firm. Number two, they fit with that promotion framework, that you can actually evidence and make sure you are building a plan that ticks the boxes of the things that you're going to be scored against when it comes to the promotion reviews that you sit in. You need to make sure you are speaking the same language as your firm and that you're evidencing those same skills. You need to show actually that if you're going to get promoted, if you're going to develop perhaps a new product or a new avenue to develop with a particular client or sector, that it is of benefit to your team. Actually, it doesn't just need to be of benefit for you to help you get promoted to make it worthwhile to the firm and to your team. It has to actually move your team forward and help the team grow and provide new streams of revenue, perhaps, or a new sector to move into, or a new type of product to offer to clients. And as part of that, you have to really show you have a good understanding of the realities of your market. Which direction of travel is your market heading in? Where is the future work going to come from in your sector? What are clients going to more likely than not spend money on? And you just to make sure that your plans are attuned to where the market is going, because that's going to help you have a pounds and pence sign over your promotion that will make it viable for the firm and a real incentive for the firm to get behind you in. And that's the bit that says it has to be commercial. As much as you might want to get promoted for your own benefit, it has to be of commercial benefit for the firm. And that means being able to increase charge out rates, or perhaps charge for products that you are helping develop or support with. There needs to be a commerciality to your progression. And I'd always say in this, when you're pitching your promotion plans, they need to be ambitious. So you need to show that you're pushing forward, but there needs to be a healthy dose of realism in there. If there's an element of unrealism in there where you have lost sight of the market, or you've lost sight of where your clients are going, it's going to be a lot harder to argue for your progression based on your plan if it is not tied to realism. This document needs to be a living, ongoing document. It's not a one-off thing that you just draft and put in a drawer, but it's something that stays with you for all of your career. And you might find you have to scrap bits of it. You have to change bits of it. That's okay, because I would take it into your appraisals. I would take it into your reviews, and I would use it when you're sitting down with your sponsoring partner and talking about what you're trying to do. Ask them for realistic appraisal of its likelihood of a success. And sometimes you've got to be brutal with it and take some brutal feedback to help you with it. One of the questions we then always get asked, well, what if there's no opportunity for me? Or what if there's a blocker in my internal promotion structures? Should I change firms or should I just keep going where I am? Well, considering whether to change firms is a massive topic of conversation that is important for you to have alongside your own internal structures. And sometimes moving firms is a fantastic opportunity for you to move into a new role with new responsibilities, with perhaps taking a step up that would go outside of the normal promotion rounds that you might face internally. And I think the only way to assess it is to take a step back for a moment. Once you've got your business plan, once you know the direction of travel you're wanting to go in, once you know what you're wanting to achieve, and once you have an idea of the likelihood of success of where you are, you can then consider a big question. The big question is, what is currently hindering my promotion? What is the biggest? It might not even be a hindrance. It might just be something that is a challenge to be overcome. It might be that there is something that is slowing down your progression. You need to know what that is. It can be a whole host of things. It might be the partner in your department is not supportive of you. It could be the team. There's actually no room in the team for you to get promoted because there's already a number of people in the team ahead of you that are already either in the role you're wanting to move into or ahead of you on the promotion track. It could be firm management. It might be actually there's a reduction in promotions at the moment for a host of firm-wide reasons. It could be financial performance of the firm. That's actually meaning that they can't promote as many this year. It might be the goalposts have moved slightly in terms of what's required of you to get promoted. It could be the market. You need to give careful consideration to the market. If the market is not supporting investment and promotion, it will be harder for the partners to be able to sign off on it. But I think the hardest one to take account of is it me? Is there something that you are missing? Something that you're not evidencing, something that you're not hitting? And it's quite helpful to know what the hindrance is or what the blocker is, because then you know what you have to do about it. And it might be that at that point in time, it could be any one of those factors that might actually make it easier for you to consider whether getting promoted would be a better opportunity elsewhere. And there's certain questions that are really helpful for you to ask yourself when you're weighing up whether it's better to stay put or whether to look externally for promotion. Number one, will I be able to learn more elsewhere? Is there some kind of experience you're after that you're just not getting where you are? Could you get that somewhere else? Number two, is there more space for me to progress elsewhere and perhaps faster than I am where I am? Is there more headroom? Is there a better opportunity and a gap for me to get promoted with another firm than there is in my current firm? Number three, will I be better able to do the work I want to for the clients I want to elsewhere? Is there an opportunity to broaden your client base or the type of clients you want to act for that perhaps you can't in your firm due to conflict or due to them not being in that sector? But are there clients you want to act for or sectors you want to move into that you could better do elsewhere? And then finally, is there somewhere that gives me better career opportunities for success than I have at the moment? Is there a better platform? That could be another firm has a better reputation. It's got a better sector presence or more firepower in that sector than your own firm has. Maybe it's on panels that for clients you want to act for. Perhaps there's a partner or a team in another firm that you would love to work with. And I'd say asking yourself all of these questions helps you actually weigh up the differences that might be available between continuing where you are and going somewhere else. And I'd say getting advice on this is fundamental. I spend so much of my time sitting down with lawyers, analyzing their business cases, thinking about the direction that they are wanting to take their career in, and considering where the best platform is for them to do that. What we effectively do is provide career MOTs for lawyers, where we effectively look under the bonnet of your career, work out what's missing, what needs to be changed, what's working just fine and needs fine tuning. those career MOTs can be so beneficial. So what are my key takeaways as we come to the end of the presentation bit of today? Number one, take the time to work out what you really want from your career. A career is a long thing, and you want to make sure you are going in the direction you really want to. Speak to the people in your business that hold the keys to progression or can advise you on what those type of people are looking for. Work hard on your business case and take into account all of these key components that we've looked at today. This isn't a 1 hour job. This is something that you will work into over your career many times. And be really realistic with your likelihoods of success now, or perhaps in a year, 2, 3, and work out what you need to do in the intervening period. And don't be afraid to get help and support. If you've ever watched Dragon's Den, you'll see many entrepreneurs walk into that den, pitch a fantastic idea that just isn't invested in, and you watch them take on board the feedback, go away, and make an incredible success of their business. And sometimes you've got to do that. You've got to take the honest, constructive, difficult feedback if you're going to make the advances you're looking for. And most importantly, this is your career. You need to own it. You need to give it careful, timely, deliberate, and ongoing investment, because it can make all the difference between you succeeding and hitting those career milestones that you are gunning for. So that is the end of the presentation part of today. What I'm delighted is that you don't have to just listen to me today. There are some fantastic voices of those who have walked the journey of progression, who have been through it and have had to navigate all the ups and downs of promotion. And I'm delighted today to be joined by my two guest panelists. I'm delighted to introduce you to Coralie, who's obviously our chair for today. So Coralie, thank you so much for joining us. Coralie's day job is as an energy and infrastructure director at Freets here in Bristol. She was promoted to director last year in 2024. And in her free time, she is also the president of Bristol Law Society, as well as being a director and member of so many fantastic committees and networks within the Bristol market. And Coralie is a wonderful ambassador for the Bristol legal scene. And it's been a pleasure to work with Coralie over many years and just see her involved in so many worthwhile networks. So thank you, Coralie, for joining us. I'm also joined by Danielle Spalding, who's a principal director at Foot Anstey. And Danielle has been at Foot Anstey for 10 years now and also was recently promoted to principal director in 2024 on her return from maternity leave. And Danielle's focus is on supporting her clients in the private wealth sector. And she has a particular interest in natural capital and its impact on the rural economy. This is it's her second time being a panelist on this event over the years, and it's been a real joy to watch Danielle's progression through the different stages of her career and sharing her experiences. So it's lovely to have you back, Danielle. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Fantastic. Well, I've got some questions that I was really keen to put to the panel. And if you've got any particular questions for them, please do put them in the Q&A, and there will be plenty of time for us to put your questions to the panel. So just starting off, if I can start with you, Coralie, looking at your career to date, what have been the things that have helped you most in going for progression and pushing you forward as you faced those opportunities to set yourself apart and get yourself promoted? What has pushed you forward and helped you on that journey?
I think for me, the driving sort of force, I guess, behind it is the sort of an element of ambition, but then wanting to do well and be the best lawyer you can be. And I found that in my experience, the promotion elements help you get the opportunities or find the opportunities, and because people support you in the promotion, then they are also helping you push yourself forward. And it can be pushing you outside of your comfort zone as part of that as well, and that sort of excites me a little bit. But I think promotion is, as you've said in your sort of intro and your presentation, a lot of it is about getting what you want out of your career at that particular moment in time, whether that's, pay or visibility or autonomy or doing the work that you want to do or working with the clients that you want to do. So each time I feel like I've gone through a promotion has been getting me closer to that aspect of the dream job as such. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's a really interesting sort of way of sort of getting what you want and spending your time the way you want it.
That's brilliant. What about you, Danielle? What's pushed you forward in your career and helped you in those moments you've needed to dig deep?
I think from my perspective, it kind of comes down to I really do enjoy what I do and I really enjoy where I work. And that has a huge kind of influence on keeping me enthusiastic, keeping me engaged and wanting to progress and being at the right firm and making sure that the culture at the firm that you're at fits what you want to do. So at Foots in particular, our strategy this time around, it's all about being ambitious. It's aimed at growth and development and opportunities and people making their mark. And there's a real encouragement about valuing contributions and being bold and bold thinking. And all of that really spurs me on to push forward and be bold myself, basically. And I think ultimately, since I kind of qualified as a lawyer, I've always known that I wanted to be a partner, and that's my kind of end game. And all of these steps are just moving me towards that ultimate aim. So I think it's just about having that vision about where you want to be and how you get there just kind of helps you push towards that end goal.
That's fantastic. Coralie, coming to you, in terms of formulating plans, like it's very easy for me to talk about it from quite an academic perspective, but in terms of actually putting a plan together and going for promotion and thinking about promotion, how did you go about that? What did you do in terms of how to evidence that you are the right person to get promoted?
Yeah, I mean, you did touch on it. I think it is just starting with a conversation, because if you don't have the conversation first, you don't know what you need to do or what you're looking for or where the gaps are or what your opportunities for a promotion, particularly if it's an internal promotion. Because it's very my sort of business plan was very much around the opportunities that, was within the firm. When I've gone for external promotion opportunities previously, that has always been very much about the skill set and your CV and what you can sell to them and what you can bring to the business or how you can make an impact in that business, which is slightly different to doing the internal promotion. And I felt with the internal promotion, it was about getting as much information as possible, the transparency, the matrix, understanding what you actually need to do, and then how you can improve yourself to hit all of those gaps. And a lot of the advice for actually putting it together in a way that will work for your firm is only found by talking to people, whether that's your boss, your line manager, people who've done it in the previous year, if you've got a mentor or peers, that kind of thing, to actually be like, what are the really important things? Because the thing I found was my promotion plan is only allowed to be 2 pages long. And I am a word person and I do a lot. So when I started it, I wrote 35 pages
Wow.
and I had to, and because that was everything I'd done. And then it was working out what actually is impactful and important. And for that bit, I needed to talk to people to see, well, what do people care about? Because I've got loads of stuff, but if I can only have 2 pages, I don't want to take out the stuff that I think isn't important, but actually does have an impact. And getting help for that bit of it for me was really important.
Getting help is it just helps you focus your energies in the right place.
Yeah.
What about you, Danielle? Where did you go for help and support as you were prepping your promotion plan, perhaps even your most recent one to principal director? Did you get help? Did you have a second voice speaking into that situation?
So I think the answer is lots of places. I've got a really great relationship with my support partner at the firm. He also heads our team, and his guidance has just been really invaluable. And you touched upon this, Sheldon, but I remember somebody else saying this to me when I was a trainee, is find your champion, basically. And I am very lucky to have that in the partner that I work with, so somebody inside the business. But I also try to pull in different kind of aspects of help from the firm. So we've got a mentor scheme, and I purposely chose somebody outside of my practice area so that I could speak to them and they could perhaps challenge me a bit more on my business plan and what I was trying to achieve, because they were asking quite difficult questions to understand what it was that I wanted to do and how I was going to add value to the rest of the firm. And I think sometimes you can kind of take it for granted that everybody understands your practice area. So I think having somebody who perhaps doesn't quite understand your practice area really challenge you on your business plan is really invaluable. But also, all firms will have career level development programs, and really embracing those. And I think, sometimes they really do push you outside your comfort zone and you think, oh God, the last thing I want to do is go to a group coaching session, and whether they're to help with your, technical legal skills, but perhaps more importantly, like your business, your client, your leadership skills. I have maximized going to all of those things to get
Brilliant.
as much as I can. And I think also, everybody said this, Coralie, and you've said it as well, Sheldon, is just having conversations with the right people. So sector leads, senior partners, sense checking your plan and making sure, the ultimate thing is it has to fit with the firm's overall strategy. And if it doesn't, then you're going to fall down quite quickly. So I think it's getting as much help as you can from the relevant people.
Fantastic. Coralie, coming back to you, in terms of going for promotion, what are some of the challenges you've had to overcome, or some of the things you've had to think about? Because there's never plain sailing, is it, getting promoted? There's always some things you've got to find answers to or solutions to. What are some of the things that you yourself have had to overcome, and how did you do that?
Yeah, I mean, things just never go as planned is the first point. You can have an idea in your head and that goes out the window. But I mean, there were, a couple of times I've gone for promotion and was like completely shut down. And so I'll give those two examples. So the first was when I was just spending a huge amount of hours working, and I've been given a list of these are all the things you need to do to actually get the promotion. And I felt like I was doing them. And then when it came to the time, it was like, well, you weren't doing enough of the right type of thing or the right type of work to actually be able to demonstrate that you were ready for the next stage. And it was sort of like, well, I don't have any more time to give at that point. And so I think what I learned from that was being, and this is when I was fairly junior, but it was like, I know it was sort of my first time going for promotion, but I think what I learned from that was being, really clear and specific about what you need to achieve, keeping a record of it, and saying no to more things, and thinking about what does this, and this stays important the whole way through, does it help me or not, and saying no to more, which particularly when you're more junior can be really, really hard thing to do. The second example was when I asked one of my bosses for about a promotion. He was like, yeah, talking about it. Wasn't proper like champion sponsorship stage yet, but was sort of like, yeah, we can talk about this. And I had the naivety to think that he had a say in the promotion, but he didn't really. It was like higher up the food chain. And then so when I actually went to have that conversation and then met the person higher up in the food chain, they were like, I have no idea what you do. I don't know who you are. And it was just like, oh, that came as a bit of a surprise, because I felt like I was working hard and doing things in the team and had a conversation with my immediate boss. And so while I could answer the questions that they had put forward about why I should get a promotion, I didn't really have their buy-in at the critical time that I needed it. And so then this for me is why I talked about having those conversations early in one of the earlier questions, because actually you also need to find out who the decision maker is and making sure that they know who you are and that they've heard your name. And even if you haven't talked to them directly, making sure that they've heard your name in other people's conversations, even if you don't have direct access to them, and basically making it absolutely impossible for them to say no.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And sometimes you only realize that by the hard way, by thinking it's all sorted. You go for it and you realize, ah. So and that's about speaking to the right people and making sure you're on the right people's radar. And that's fantastic. And it's so important. And it's so hard to know those unwritten rules, aren't they, of promotion? And it's critical you've got a good ally, a good sponsor on your side who has a voice and who has the inside understanding of what you need to do so that you don't arrive ill prepared for it, not because of your fault, but because you just didn't know what to come prepared with. Danielle, if I could, thank you so much, Carly. Danielle, if I could come to you, and what I was going to ask you was, in terms of standing out, and that's one of the things we've just been talking about, is how to be visible and how to make sure you're in the right visibility for the people who make the decisions. How have you found the dawn of obviously hybrid working? And in your instance, you were on maternity at one point in your career when you were thinking about promotion. How do you set about still being visible or still making sure that you're in the right place for promotion, even with all the challenges of the modern working environment?
Yeah, I think to be really honest, I was very anxious about going on maternity leave. I've had 2 maternity leaves now, and the most recent mat leave that I went on, I went through a promotion process whilst I was on leave. And I appreciate that everyone's aims and ambitions for that period of life are very different. And going on maternity leave and coming back is definitely a juggle. But so I think, I am self-confessed very ambitious, and I enjoy goals and kind of having a plan and working through it. So I was very clear about the stages that I wanted to go through and certain career steps that I wanted to achieve in timescales that basically fitted my aims. And I didn't want any of that to be impacted by maternity leave. And that isn't for everybody. It's not a kind of one size fits all. But for me, it was all about having a clear stated plan and communicating that, which is a real key theme for this that we've all talked about. Communicating that really early on and working towards it. Doing it whilst out of the business was difficult and challenging. But I kept open communication basically between the firm and my team leader to set up my application and really put my best foot forward. There are pros and cons to that, I guess, when you're on maternity leave. The pros are, I had more contact with the firm whilst I was off. I was more up to speed with what was going on than I otherwise would be. But the con is, I might not have been as switched off as I should have been on maternity leave. So there is a bit of a balancing act there. But I think, more generally in relation to hybrid working and just being out of the business for a period of time, I think it's about setting it up so you've got a really clear, consistent track record of success over a number of years. And I think if there's one thing that really stood me in good stead for making an application, that it was that I was regarded as somebody as having potential over a long period of time. And we spoke about, Sheldon, you spoke about profile. Internal brand and profile is just as important as external profile. So,
Yes.
It's about building that brand and profile internally, I think, and having early communication and being clear in what you want and not being afraid to be bold in putting out there what it is you want and when effectively.
Yeah, that's so incredibly helpful. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you so much. Talking a little bit about that personal brand and how to make that visible, Coralie, just coming to you, obviously the thought of flexible working can mean so many different things in, whether it's there's care provision being provided, but we need to think outside of the box a bit about when we talk about flexible working. And sometimes flexible working enables us to develop so many other parts of our life and responsibilities we have. And you have more responsibilities than most outside of work. How have you balanced work and progression with obviously the amazing outside of work things you do that require a lot of flexibility in your work. How does that work for you, and how have you made that work for your firm so that it's of benefit to your firm?
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenge. It's the same as, I obviously can't equate it to having children, but it is the same sort of flexibility from the firm's perspective in
Yes,
terms of you're not always available, and that ends up being the challenge. But for me, flexible working is about, choosing how I use my time when I want to do it while still managing clients' expectations and supervising my team. And I mean, in reality, you just make it work. But I have a really good supportive boss. I have a really good supportive team, and my clients know my team. So they know if I'm not available, they can deal with them, which is about that client management and expectation side of it. And that's really important in any of these things, that you are delivering a good job and you are managing to do all of these things. The firm, of course, does have to understand that your chargeable hours can be affected by it and will be affected by it, but then they're getting the soft benefit of you building your brand and you promoting the firm. And I get, loads of clients know that I'm the president of the Law Society, which becomes a great conversation starter, and just raises your profile more generally, because people then know who you are and know who
absolutely.
the firm is. And so that has its benefits. It can be soft, and it may or may not translate into monetary gain, but it's definitely an aspect of the visibility of the firm and people wanting to work at the firm. I think it can be a really good way to show that the firm is flexible and they are supportive of it. Can be a great way of showing the firm is a really good place to work and that the culture is really good, because they endorse and support that. And so by extension, the firm benefits from that as well. And I benefit from doing things that I never knew I could do, because it's been really, I mean, I used to always be like, I can't do public speaking, and now I seem to be doing a speaking event a week, so a minimum. And so that's been really, I also got forced by my boss to speak in front of the entire firm at a conference last year, and he's just like, it'll be good practice for when you're president. And I'm like, yeah, great, thanks for that. But I did it, but I was incredibly outside my comfort zone. So the skills that you learn doing other things, whatever that is outside of the workplace, benefit you for your day job as well.
Amazing. I'm just aware time has unfortunately gone. I just want to say a massive thank you to Danielle and Coralie. Thank you so much for giving your time to just share your experiences with us. And just to say, obviously today we've kind of skimmed over so much material. I appreciate for many of you, you'll have so many questions, and we did receive so many questions. We just didn't have time to get through them all. But I hope today has been really useful. If for you personally, having a career MOT would be useful, my details will be circulated after this. Just get in touch. I'd love to help and love to help you think about your career and where you're going. Thank you so much on behalf of Bristol Law Society and us here at Hayes. It's been a real joy to have you with us today. I hope it's been useful. Any feedback or things you'd find more useful, please do send them our way. And details from the slides will be circulated on the back of today. Did you want to say anything, Coralie, before we wrap up?
No, nothing specific. Just thank you everyone for joining us today, and hope to see you again soon.